Hey, how's it going? My name is Grant Chiasson. I'm a mental performance coach. And today's video, I'm going to talk about the 8 things I wish I knew before I started playing D1 football. Now, this is a pretty cool time. A lot of freshmen are getting on campus for the summer. Some are just starting in the fall and August. And this is the time to really dial into these things now because you need to have a foundation as you build out, your system, your routine, everything you're doing going into your first fall semester. So by the end of this video, you should have a few tools that can definitely help you along the way and get you out of some trouble like it got me in when I was a D1 quarterback. So it's an exciting time. I mean, look, you think you've made it. You've got to this point. You had this goal for however long to play collegiate sports, to be a college athlete. But when you finally get to there, nobody tells you exactly what's going to make you a competitive athlete. Okay. Which is what I was not. Right. So that's why I'm giving you this blueprint, what I've learned in coaching and being able to compete at high levels and compete for starting jobs and not get them. And then ultimately fizzle out and leave eligibility on the table, but then also coaching athletes and studying mental performance and studying high performing athletes. I'm going to give you the full blueprint. Right. So again, I'm a former Division I quarterback, Northwestern State, signed in 2011. I walked away with 3 years of eligibility. It definitely wasn't my arm, definitely wasn't my talent. It was just mental systems with pressure and then overthinking and then constantly worrying about things that were outside of my control and then not having help being told where to dial in each and every day and how to perform at a high level. So these are all non-negotiables that I wrote about in my article in Substack. I'll drop that link in the description. But number one, you've got to build a focus switch, right? So I watched a ton of NFL guys train and college guys work out. And I can tell you this, it's like off the field, completely normal, right? Just, hey, how's it going? Talking about kids, talking about, vacations, everything like that. But as soon as they walk through the door, it's like everything else in the world disappears from that session and what's important right now to get focused. So when you have that type of focus, when you put in your framework for dialing into what's important now, you're leaving everything else behind you. You're leaving everything outside of the facility to just make sure that you are focused on exactly what needs to be done right now. Now, I look at it as 2 different levels. There's a big focus where they zoom out and they're always dialed into the 5-year vision, kind of just that quiet voice in the back of your mind that keeps reminding you like, hey, is this going to make you proud in 5 years that you did this today? And then also that little focus on, hey, what's really important right now in this rep in this assignment, right? So the SEALs, they call it micro goals, right? They talk about focusing specifically on what I have to do right now. Make my bed, okay, done. Brush my teeth. All right, cool. March 10 miles, done, cool. It's always what's next. The ones who think too far ahead and lose focus of what's important right now, they fizzle out and they don't make it through graduation. So I wish that I would have had a focus to attach to my long-term goals every day briefly, but then focus on what exactly was important right now and stop worrying about practice yesterday, stop worrying about practice today or tomorrow. What do I have to do right now? Okay, so my brand and what I coach, I call them the fearless athletes, right? So the opposite of fear is faith. So faith is belief that something is good. It's something positive is going to happen. You are deciding to choose positivity. Fear is belief that it won't be enough and letting things turn negative. So when you sit there and choose faith over fear, then you are allowing the positive and the good to enter your brain, right? So fear is always going to be there. It's just who we are. It's who we're built as humans, but you can definitely starve it, right? And your mind will compound when you feed one or the other. So if you're scrolling and you think about fear every day, you're just slowly putting more anxiety on your plate. But if you're ruthless about being faithful and putting in your inputs and knowing that the process will get you to where you want to be, then you become relentless and you attack that positive mindset moving forward. So non-negotiable, only feed your faith. Number 3, definitely kill the ego, right? Keep the confidence, but the ego's got to go. Confidence, it can destroy an athlete to a certain extent that you think that you're already arrived, that you think you're good enough, but real confidence really comes is 2 things at once, right? You can execute the next task no matter what, and also being aware that there's another level that you haven't reached yet, right? So being able to be confident and know that you're going to tackle this task is what's going to separate you from letting that ego tear you apart. All right. The moment you think you figured it out or that you're good enough, you stop growing. Like, I'm way too good for this. I'm way too good for that. That's where you start seeing these people just fizzling out, hitting the portal, not being happy enough, and then they just hang it up. So you're always in the student mindset, right? You polish the basics, even when it feels boring. You're thinking about questions that, or asking questions that maybe even makes you look like you don't know them. And you watch film on your own time. You're just always humble, but you're always hungry. All right. If you pick both, you're in a great space. So for me personally, if I would have just put my head down and executed what's important right now, not worry about what's happened in the past, but just accept coaching and feedback, I would have been in a lot better position. All right. Organization is not optional at all whatsoever. We use the 168. You have 168 hours in your week. So you got to write down what you're doing for each one. Write down when you're sleeping, when you're waking up, when's the recovery, skill work, unrequired, all those things, put it down on paper and manage it properly, right? If you keep it in your head, it's just going to stress you out. It's just going to, drive you insane. But if you can lay this out and have your week organized, at minimum, have your week organized, you'll be in a better spot. All right. You know what to expect. You can rehearse the week and move forward. The SEALs are known for this, rehearsing everything, right? Seeing the week before it happens, seeing the day before it happens, and using that at a high level to keep everything organized on paper to where their mind can just focus on what's important right now. All right. This goes into the pillar of self-talk. That's number 5, becoming your own biggest fan, right? So you have a voice in your head, and sometimes the question is, what is it saying? Is it positive? Is it negative? But you choose how you talk to yourself. So you need to have cues, mantras that you've really actually practice. It's not just something you say every now and then. So not the generic, all right, you got this, but something tied to like who you're becoming. You say it in the mirror, like who you want to be, describe yourself, and think about, your role models and people you look up to. Your circle counts too. Who you surround yourself with, the negativity, it's infectious. All right. So when you stay in that positive circle and space of people that are always just in a good spot, you get to the point where you realize anything outside of that is pretty much just trash and you're not dealing with it at all. All right. Treat every day like Thanksgiving. Okay. That's number 6. Everybody's grateful on Thanksgiving. Everybody puts out the post that they're thankful for this and that. And, you get what I'm saying, but you should be thinking about this every day. Like, what are you thankful for no matter what? We know that we can have gratitude, and we know that we can't be anxious if we're grateful. So one thing I always have clients do is we work on a morning gratitude routine, right? So right away I tell them, just like my morning, you got to practice what you preach, right? Get outside before you do the screen, keep the phone away from you, locked in another room, take some deep breaths, listen to what's going on in your head, think about what you're thankful for, real things, see the 5-year plan for a little bit, see where you're at, feel the emotions as if your goal happens and if it works out. And top 3 things you can do today to help somebody else and to help somebody on their journey and kind of take the pressure off of yourself. And then that'll just be one little part of you becoming, and winning the day. Right. So you don't need the holiday just to be thankful and grateful. Do this every day. Make it an absolute routine to wake up and start with gratitude. Okay. This is super important. You've got to have a mistake reset. All right. You're going to mess up. You're not perfect. Okay. You're going to miss a read. You'll drop a pass. You'll strike out. You'll miss your pitches will be off one day, but every athlete, our average athletes let one mistake turn into 3 plays. All right. The same average athletes, they'll let one mistake ruin like the next 3 plays, and the spiral just keeps happening, get out of control. Right. So your personal reset should be to really pick one. Right. So you got to make sure that it's yours. It's personal. It's something automatic for under pressure. It's got to start with some kind of deep breath. You have to calm yourself down after a mistake before your brain says all those negative thoughts. So the mistake's going to happen. And if you've rehearsed it correctly, you know how you're going to anticipate the next mistake and what you're going to do accordingly with your reset. So it's the only thing you control. So when it happens, deep breath, hit the mantra, and then you're on to the next. Okay. Train this like it's a skill every single day. If a mistake happens, you have to be your biggest fan, like we talked about. And then you have to have a reset to forget it and it's totally on to the next one. Okay. Lastly, number 8, you've got to play the long game. Okay. One bad Tuesday will not define your career. Too many athletes live and die by every single rep. So the frame is just like investing. We're all trying to build financial wealth and freedom. So like market swings happen. There's red days, there's green days, but if you invest in the right things, the 10-year line goes one direction, right? It just stays steady and consistent. When people tell me their mind is like a roller coaster, I say, well, we got to turn this into a train, and we got to see this train's on a long journey, just nice and consistent the whole way. So, you know, what you would deposit every day, extra skill work, all right, extra film even when you're tired, handling a mistake like a pro instead of spiraling. You don't judge your career ever on today's mistakes, but seeing it as just evidence of if the process is working or not, and using that to learn a lesson and to move forward to the next day. So look, you have a choice every single day. Nobody's making you do this. Coaches can't help you install frameworks, foundations. Parents can't want this more than you. Like, you stepped on campus, you're the adult now. The choice is really yours. So the big gap is that most of your competition isn't making these choices. They're running on talent and hope, because that's what the average college athlete does, is hope that the talent gets them through most of the time. No systems or trained mind. So step into the gap of elevating yourself, taking the next level of building out these frameworks, building out that mindset. Don't start overall with everything tomorrow, or overhaul it for tomorrow. Just start with one. Like, just think about one thing from the 8 non-negotiables, and you'll be in a good spot. All right. So just one rep at a time. That's how it compounds. And then you're just moving on in the next direction, no matter what. But you're always learning from mistakes and reframing the adversity. All right. So one rep at a time, and that's how you'll get it done. So again, this is a simple blueprint. I write about this all the time. I put this on all my socials. I'm talking to myself when I make social content. I'm talking to my 20-year-old self that walked away from the game. And I want to help every athlete that I possibly can get out of their headspace and to dominate on and off the field. So I've got some free resources for you in the description. And if you're ready to build a system, again, there's a link below. We can get to work together one-on-one, or we can simply just connect via socials, and I'll give you all my unlimited resources. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one.